Hi, welcome to tonight's reading of story. Tonight's story is titled The Room of Many Colors. And this story is from the book Collected Short Stories of Ruskin Bond. So it starts like this. The Room of Many Colors. Last week I wrote a story, and all the time I was writing it, I thought it was a good story. But when it was finished and I had read it through, I found there was something missing, that it didn't ring true. So I tore it up. I wrote a poem about an old man sleeping in the sun, and this was true. But it was finished quickly. And once again, I was left with the problem of what to write next. And I remembered my father who taught me to write. And I thought, why not write about my father? And about the trees we planted, and about the people I knew while growing up, and about what happened on the way to growing up. And so, like Alice, I must begin at the beginning. That sentence is from Alice in Wonderland. Lewis Carroll says, I must begin at the beginning. And in the beginning, there was this red insect, just like a velvet button, which I found on the front lawn of the bungalow. The grass was still wet with overnight rain. I placed the insect on the palm of my hand and took it into the house to show to my father. Look, Dad, I said, I haven't seen an insect like this before. Where has it come from? Where did you find it? He asked. On the grass. Oh, it must have come down from the sky, he said. It must have come down with the rain. Later he told me how the insect really happened, but I preferred his first explanation. It was more fun to have it dropping from the sky. I was 7 at the time and my father was 37. But right from the beginning, he made me feel that I was old enough to talk to him about everything. About insects, people, trees, steam engines, King George, comics, crocodiles, the Mahatma, the Viceroy, America, Mozambique, and Timbuktu. We took long walks together, explored old ruins, chased butterflies, and waved to passing trains. My mother had gone away when I was 4, and I had very dim memories of her. Most other children had their mothers with them, and I found it a bit strange that mine couldn't stay. Whenever I asked my father why she had gone, he would say, You'll understand when you grow up. And if I asked him where she had gone, he would look troubled and say, I really don't know. This was the only question of mine to which he did not have an answer. But I was quite happy living alone with my father. I had never known any other kind of life. We were sitting on an old wall looking out to sea at a couple of Arab dhows, that is, boats, and a tramp steamer, when my father said, Would you like to go to sea one day? Where does the sea go? I asked. It goes everywhere, he said. Does it go to the end of the world? I asked. It goes right around the world. It is a round world. Oh, it can't be, I said. It is, but it's so big you can't see the roundness. When a fly sits on a watermelon, it can't see right round the melon, can it? The melon must seem quite flat to the fly. Well, in comparison to the world, we are much, much, much smaller than the tiniest of insects. Have you been round the world? I asked. No, only as far as England. That's where your grandfather was born, he said. And my grandmother? I asked. She came to India from Norway when she was quite small. Norway is a cold land with mountains and snow, and the sea cutting deep into the land. I was there as a boy. It's very beautiful, and the people are good and work hard. I'd like to go there, I said. You will one day, when you're older. I'll take you to Norway. Is it better than England? I asked. It's quite different. Is it better than India? It's quite different. Is India like England? Well, no, it's different. Well, what does different mean? I asked. It means things are not the same. It means people are different. It means the weather is different. It means trees and birds and insects are different. Are English crocodiles different from Indian crocodiles? They don't have crocodiles in England, Dad said. Oh, then it must be different. It would be a dull world if it was the same everywhere, said my father. He never lost patience with my endless questioning. If he wanted a rest, he would take out his pipe and spend a long time lighting it. If this took very long, I would find something else to do, but sometimes I would wait patiently until the pipe was drawing and then return to the attack. Will we always be in India? I asked. No, we'll have to go away one day. You see, it's hard to explain, but it isn't really our country. Aya says it belongs to the King of England, and the jewels in his crown were taken from India, and that when the Indians get their jewels back, the king will lose India. But first they have to get the crown from the king. But this is very difficult, she says, because the crown is always on his head. He even sleeps wearing his crown. Aya was my nanny. She loved me deeply and was always filling my head with strange and wonderful stories. My father did not comment on Aya's views. All he said was, we'll have to go away someday. How long have we been here? I asked. 200 years, he said. No, I mean us. Well, you were born in India, so that's 7 years for you. Then can't I stay here? Do you want to? I want to go across the sea. But can we take Aya with us? I don't know, son. Let's walk along the beach. We lived in an old palace beside a lake. The palace looked like a ruin from the outside, but the rooms were cool and comfortable. We lived in one wing, and my father organized a small school in another wing. His pupils were the children of the Raja and the Raja's relatives. My father had started life in India as a tea planter, but he had been trained as a teacher, and the idea of starting a school in a small state facing the Arabian Sea had appealed to him. The pay wasn't much, but we had a palace to live in, and the latest 1938 model Hillman to drive about in, and a number of servants. In those days, of course, everyone had servants although the servants did not have any. Aya was our own, but the cook, the bearer, the gardener, and the bishti were all provided by the state, that's by the government. Sometimes I sat in the schoolroom with the other children who were all much bigger than me. Sometimes I remained in the house with Aya. Sometimes I followed the gardener Dukhi about the spacious gardens. Dukhi means sad, and though I never could discover if the gardener had anything to feel sad about, his name remained certainly stated, suited him. He had grown to resemble the drooping weeds that he was always digging up with a tiny spade. I seldom saw him standing up. He always sat on the ground with his knees well up to his chin and attacked the weeds from this position. He could spend all day on his haunches, moving about the garden simply by shuffling his feet along the grass. I tried to imitate his posture, sitting down on my heels and putting my knees into my armpits, but could never hold the position for more than 3 minutes. Time had no meaning in a large garden, and Dukhi never hurried. Life for him was not a matter of one year succeeding another, but of 5 seasons: winter, spring, hot weather, monsoon, and autumn, arriving and departing. His seed beds had always to be in readiness for the coming season, and he did not look any further than the next monsoon. It was impossible to tell his age. He may have been 36 or 86. He was either very young for his years or very old for them. Dukhi loved bright colors, especially reds and yellows. He liked strongly scented flowers like jasmine and honeysuckle. He couldn't understand my father's preference for the more delicately perfumed petunias and sweet peas. But I shared Dukhi's fondness for the common bright orange marigold, which is offered in temples, and is used to make garlands and nosegays. When the garden was bare of all color, the marigold would still be there, gay and flashy, challenging the sun. Dukhi was very fond of making nosegays, and I liked to watch him at work. A sunflower formed the centerpiece. It was surrounded by roses, marigolds, oleander, fringed with green leaves, and bound together with silver thread. The perfume was overpowering. The nosegays were presented to me or my father on special occasions, that is, on a birthday, or to guests of my father's who were considered important. One day I found Dukhi making a nosegay and said, "No one is coming today, Dukhi. It isn't even a birthday." "It is a birthday, Chota Sahib," he said. Little Sahib was the title he had given to me. It wasn't much of a title compared to Raja Sahib, Diwan Sahib, or Bada Sahib, but it was nice to have a title at the age of 7. "Oh," I said, and he said, "A party too?" "No party." "What's the use of a birthday without a party? What's the use of a birthday without presents? This person doesn't like presents, just flowers." "Who is it?" I asked, full of curiosity. "If you want to find out, you can take these flowers to her. She lives right at the top of that far side of the palace. There are 22 steps to climb. Remember that, Chota Sahib?" You take 23 steps and you will go over the edge and into the lake. I started climbing up the steps. It was a spiral staircase of wrought iron, and it went round and up, and it made me quite dizzy and tired. At the top, I found myself on a small balcony, which looked out over the lake and another palace, at the crowded city and the distant harbor. I heard a voice, a rather high musical voice, saying in English, "Are you a ghost?" I turned to see who had spoken, but found the balcony empty. The voice had come from a dark room. I turned to the stairway, ready to flee, but the voice said, "Oh, don't go. There is nothing to be frightened of." And so I stood still, peering cautiously into the darkness of the room. "First tell me, are you a ghost?" "I'm a boy," I said. "And I'm a girl. We can be friends. I can't come out there, so you had better come in. Come along, I'm not a ghost either. Not yet anyway." And there was nothing very frightening about the voice. So I stepped into the room. It was dark inside, and coming in from the glare, it took me some time to make out the tiny, elderly lady seated on a cushioned gilt chair. She wore a red sari, lots of colored bangles on her wrists, and golden earrings. Her hair was streaked with white, but her skin was still quite smooth and unlined, and she had large and very beautiful eyes. "You must be Master Bond," she said. "Do you know who I am?" "You are a lady with a birthday," I said. "But that's all I know. Duki didn't tell me any more." "If you promise to keep it a secret, I'll tell you who I am. You see, everyone thinks I'm mad. Do you think so too?" "I don't know," I said. "Well, you must tell me if you think so," she said with a chuckle. Her laugh was the sort of sound made by a gecko, a little wall lizard, coming from deep down in the throat. "I have a feeling you are a truthful boy. Do you find it very difficult to tell the truth?" "Sometimes," I said. "Sometimes, of course. There are times when I tell lies. Lots of little lies because they are such fun. But would you call me a liar?" "I won't. If I were you, but would you?" "Are you a liar?" "I am asking you. If I were to tell you that I was a queen, that I am the queen, would you believe me?" I thought deeply about this and then said, "I'll try to believe you." "Oh, but you must believe me. I am a real queen." "That I am a queen, would you believe me?" I thought deeply about this and then said, "I'll try to believe you." "No, but you must believe me. I'm a real queen. I am a Rani. Look, I've got diamonds to prove it." And she held out her hands, and there was a ring on each finger, the stones glowing and glittering in the dim light. Diamonds, rubies, pearls, emeralds. Only a queen can have these. She was most anxious that I should believe her. "You must be a queen," I said. "Right," she snapped. "In that case, would you mind calling me Your Highness?" "Your Highness," I said. She smiled. It was a slow, beautiful smile. Her whole face lit up. "I could love you," she said, "but better still, I'll give you something to eat. Do you like chocolate?" "Yes, Your Highness." "Well," she said, taking a box from the table beside her, "these have come all the way from England. Take two, only two, mind you. Otherwise, the box will finish before Thursday. And I don't want that to happen because I won't get any more till Saturday. That's when Captain McQuarrie's ship gets in. The SS Lucy, loaded with boxes and boxes of chocolates. All for you? I asked in considerable awe. Yes, of course, they have to last at least 3 months. I get them from England. I get only the best chocolates. I like them with pink, crunchy fillings, don't you? Oh, yes, I exclaimed, full of envy. Never mind, she said, I may give you one now and then, if you are very nice to me. Here you are, help yourself. She pushed the chocolate box towards me. I took a silver wrapped chocolate, and then, just as I was thinking of taking a second, she quickly took the box away. No more, she said. They have to last till Saturday. But I took only one, I said with some indignation. Did you? She gave me a sharp look, decided I was telling the truth, and said graciously, well, in that case, you can have another. Watching the Rani carefully, in case she snatched the box away again, I selected a second chocolate, this one with a green wrapper. I don't remember what kind of day it was outside, but I remember the bright green of the chocolate wrapper. That's very nicely put. I thought it would be rude to eat the chocolates in front of a queen, so I put them in my pocket and said, I'd better go now. Aya will be looking for me. And when will you be coming to see me again? I don't know, I said. Your Highness? Your Highness? Oh, I don't know, I said. And she said, Your Highness. So I said, Your Highness. There's something I want to do for me, she said, placing one finger on my shoulder and giving me a conspiratorial look. Will you do it? What is it, Your Highness? What is it? Why do you ask? A real prince never asks where or why or whatever. He simply does what the princess asks of him. When I was a princess, before I became a queen, that is, I asked a prince to swim across the lake and fetch me a lily growing on the other bank. And did he get it for you? He drowned halfway across. Let that be a lesson for you. Never agree to do something without knowing what it is. But I thought you said, never mind what I said. It is what I say that matters. Oh, all right, I said, fidgeting to be gone. What is it you want me to do? Nothing. Her tiny rosebud lips pouted, and she stared silently at a picture on the wall. Now that my eyes had grown used to the dim light in the room, I noticed that the walls were hung with portraits of stout Rajas and Ranis, turbaned and bedecked in fine clothes. There were also portraits of Queen Victoria and King George V of England. And in the center of all this distinguished company was a large picture of Mickey Mouse. I'll do it if it isn't too dangerous, I said. Then listen. She took my hand and drew me towards her. What a tiny hand she had, and whispered, I want a red rose from the palace garden. But be careful. Don't let Dukhi the gardener catch you. He'll know it is for me. He knows I love roses, and he hates me. I'll tell you why one day. But if he catches you, he'll do something terrible. To me, no, to himself. That's much worse, isn't it? He'll tie himself into knots or lie naked on a bed of thorns or go on a long fast with nothing to eat but fruit, sweets and chicken. So you'll be careful, won't you? Oh, but he doesn't hate you, I cried in protest. remembering the flowers he had sent for her. And looking around, I found that I had been sitting on them. Look, he sent these flowers for your birthday. Well, he sent them for my birthday. You can take them back. She snapped. But if he sent them for me, then she suddenly softened and looked coy. Then I might keep them. Thank you, my dear. It was a very sweet thought. And she leaned forward as though to kiss me. It is late, I must go, I said in alarm, and turning on my heels, ran out of the room and down the spiral staircase. Father hadn't started lunch, or rather tiffin as we call it then. He usually waited for me if I was late. I don't suppose he enjoyed eating alone. For tiffin, we usually had rice, a mutton curry, koftas or meatballs with plenty of gravy was my favorite curry. We had fried dal and a hot lime or mango pickle. For supper, we had English food, a soup, roast pork, and fried potatoes, a rich gravy made by my father, and a custard or caramel pudding. My father enjoyed cooking, but it was only in the morning that he found time for it. Breakfast was his own creation. He cooked eggs, which he had collected during a trip to Europe long before I was born. In deference to the feelings of our Hindu friends, we did not eat beef. But apart from mutton and chicken, there was a plentiful supply of other meats: partridge, venison, lobster, and even porcupine. And where have you been? Asked my father, helping himself to the rice as soon as he saw me come in. To the top of the old palace. Did you meet anyone there? Yes, I met a tiny lady who told me she was a Rani. She gave me chocolates. As a rule, she doesn't like visitors, said my father. Oh, she didn't mind me. But is she really a queen? Well, she's the daughter of a Maharaja. That makes her a princess. She never married. That's the story, that she fell in love with a commoner, one of the palace servants, and wanted to marry him. But of course, they weren't allowed that. She became very melancholic and started living all by herself in the old palace. They gave her everything she needs, but she doesn't go out or have visitors. Everyone says she's mad. How do they know? I asked. Because she's different from other people, I suppose. Is that being mad? I asked. No, not really. I suppose madness is not seeing things as others see them. Is that very bad? No, said father, who for once was finding it very difficult to explain something to me. But people who are like that, people whose minds are so different that they don't think step by step as we do, whose thoughts jump all over the place, such people are very difficult to live with. Step by step, I repeated, step by step. You aren't eating, said my father. Hurry up and you can come with me to school today. I always looked forward to attending my father's classes. He did not take me to the schoolroom very often because he wanted school to be a treat to begin with, and then later the routine wouldn't be so unwelcome. Sitting there with other children, understanding only half of what they were learning, I felt important and part grown up. And of course, I did learn to read and write, although I first learned to read upside down by means of standing in front of the others' desks and peering across at their books. Later, when I went to school, I had some difficulty in learning to read the right way up, And even today, I sometimes read upside down for the sake sit, sitting there with other children, understanding only half of what they were learning. I felt important and part grown up. And of course, I did learn to read and write, although I first learned to read upside down by means of standing in front of the others' desks and peering across their books. Later, I went to school. I had some difficulty learning to read the right way up. And even today, I sometimes read upside down for the sake of variety. I don't mean that I read standing on my head, simply that I held my book upside down. I had my command in a number of at my command a number of jingles. The most interesting of these being Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday, married on a Wednesday, to kill on Thursday, was on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. This is the end of Solomon Grundy. Did you like that jingle? That's all for tonight. See you tomorrow night. Bye bye.